This is Wandering Universe. Today, I'll be exploring an unconventional pyramid on the other side of this planet. So, let's go exploring. So, what you see is what you get in front of you. This is Earth, the big blue marble, and I'm not going to discredit it because what you see is exactly what you're going to get. It's round, blue, and it's beautiful. So, if you enjoy living on planet Earth and you don't have a phobia about it, please look after it. It needs a lot of TLC. But if you do suffer from Earth phobia and you hate everything on it, do yourself a favour. Okay, we're going to spin this big blue marble around. Here we go. All right. Yes, this is Africa. Now, come on in. Come with me. We are going to go exploring. We're going back to Egypt. Exactly. You guessed it. So we're going right in today. And all we have to do is follow the snake of the Nile. Now, I'm going to show you something. Let's have a look. Yep, you guessed it. The Giza Pyramids, as you can see right here. 1, 2, 3. Pointing to some constellation in the night sky. Beautiful pyramids. Absolute sight for sore eyes. I can say that. But we're not going to be exploring them today. We're going to go further south. So come with me. Let's go south today. Very dry, very barren, except along the River Nile. So we're going to go past Sassaqua. Yes, and as you can see, there are more pyramids further south. There's this pyramid, and the Black Pyramid, which in this case is not exactly a pyramid, so to speak. And as you can see, these pyramids are smack bang near the Nile River, or in proximity to the Nile River. The Nile River, once upon a time ago, wasn't this skinny. It was actually a lot fatter, a lot bigger. It swelled up and it went all the way inland, which created a lot of rivers, streams, pools of waters, etc. And this desolate place used to be a lush tropical green. Was it a lovely, majestic time to live there? Well, I don't know. I wasn't around back then, but nevertheless, it would have been. Okay, let's go in. Which pyramid are we going to be exploring today? Is it this one? Or is it this one? Well, I'll let you have a guess, shall we? That's right. We are exploring this pyramid, the Bent Pyramid, as you can see. Now, I'm a little bit curious if anyone, please, leave your suggestion or please comment this area right here next door to the Bent Pyramid. I don't know what this area is, but I'm just a little bit curious because I don't know what these stumps are. Okay, these stone stumps. Was there a dwelling? Was there a building structure there from thousands of years ago? Is this an archaeological dig? I don't know. But if anybody knows what this area is, please let me know in the comment section. In the meantime, I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about the Bent Pyramid. So, going a little bit closer. As you can see, there's a causeway here that leads to this mortuary temple. They call it a mortuary temple, so to speak. And there's another causeway right here that leads from the temple relic. But we're not going to talk about that today. I'm going to go right in, and I'll give you a little bit closer look, and you will get your view. Don't worry. See, there's one causeway here, there's another causeway, this one, and there's another causeway, and there's another causeway that leads to the satellite pyramid. And there's another causeway right here that leads to the bottom end of the Bent Pyramid. This is the main entrance. I think it looks like the main entrance. And there's another entrance right here. If I'm correct, there's another entrance right here. So, there is also some type of wall that surrounded the outer edge of the pyramid right here, as you can see. It's pretty precise, the square shape, very precise. So whoever built this structure knew exactly what they were doing. All right, now we're going to take a closer look, but before I do, I'm going to go out a little bit and I'll show you something else. I think you know what this is. This is called the Red Pyramid, but we're not going to explore that today. But I have found something interesting. There's this little circle. I'll just go in. There's a circle right here, perfectly round. And there's this square shape right here. I'm not sure what that was. There's also these circles here, and I'm going to be exploring that in a later video. And another circle there. There's a lot of circles here too, but I'll be exploring that. So leave that with me, and I'm going to get into exploring the Red Pyramid in a later video. But this is very interesting. So that's what it looks like from the air. Now, I'm going to take you down, follow the road. We're going to enjoy having a look at this beautiful wonder up close, as you can see here. Now, it almost looks like a straight pyramid from this angle, but it's not. Now you're going to get a lovely viewing. Here we go. Soak it in. Okay, now that you had a good look of this pyramid, I'm going to turn the compass needle around. And now, you and I are about to go exploring this beautiful pyramid. Enjoy. The Bent Pyramid is one of among several pyramids that stands out in style and design. There is nothing like it anywhere else on Earth. Many archaeologists, historians, and university professors will stand their ground on their assumptions that it was a tomb built to bury a king. Quite to the contrary, history tells us that this pyramid was built for a different objective. I'm going to take a closer look at this one-of-a-kind structure that has stood the test of time for thousands of years. The Bent Pyramid stands alone in the middle of a barren wasteland in Dahshur, yet its nearest neighbour is the satellite pyramid and the Red Pyramid only 55 metres away. This area was once a lush green tropical paradise necropolis with a fertile landscape complemented with water channels that stretched out to the Nile River. Although it is 40 kilometres from Cairo, one must wonder why it was built to align with the Giza Pyramids. Did they communicate the cosmos using them as some kind of communication station? For now, many delirious mainstreamists will stick to their tired idea that these pyramids, including the Bent Pyramid, was a tomb. The story goes that King Sneferu commissioned the development around 2600 BC, around the same time as the Chinese pyramids were being constructed. Coincidence? This pyramid resembles its splendid architecture to that of Dahshur and Median pyramids. It has graciously been given other names like bent, bendy, flexi, blunted, false, and rhomboidal. It stands a mighty 101 metres tall. It's made entirely of limestone. The sloping sides rises at a steep 54-degree angle, then tapers off to a 43-degree angle, giving it a bent look. One might ask, was there a capstone laid on top of this structure? If there were, then this begs for further investigation. Whilst I'm exploring these majestic structures, one question always comes to mind. Why did the ancient Egyptians go through so much trouble to build these ginormous structures just to bury one person? Then to be left forgotten for thousands of years like it never mattered in the first place? Something doesn't sit right. There are two entrances, the north side and west side facing the pyramid. The west entrance goes down to the high chamber, and the northern entrance goes to a chamber below ground level. The northern entrance is a 79-meter long narrow tunnel that you'd end up crouching most of the way down. And yes, you'd break a sweat as you descend down the long narrow tunnel. From 1956, its cute friend, the satellite pyramid, has been closed from the public. The same applied with the bendy one, but it was off limits since 1965. So, what went wrong? Here is a video from Anyextee who gives a rundown on its discovery.
A brief history of exploration. For centuries, the unusual shape of the Bent Pyramid has attracted explorers. A pioneer in Egyptian studies, Ahmed Kamal was the first native Egyptian Egyptologist. He compiled the writings of Arab historians and discovered at least 8 accounts mentioning Dahshur as an important place for finding treasure. These Arab legends and lore kept treasure hunters enthralled, seeking more. But the pyramid was not properly examined until 1839, when the British engineer John Shea Perring began operations with the financial support of his benefactor, Major General Richard William Howard Vyse. You may recall how these two used gunpowder to blow a hole in the back of the Sphinx, now dubbed Perring's Hole. After Vyse left for England in 1837, Perring continued operations. He was the first to explore the internal rooms of the pyramid, penetrating both the upper passage and the chamber. It was on September 8, 1839, when John Perring began his investigations at Dahshur, first working on the Red Pyramid, then known to the locals as the Rounded Pyramid. But in less than a month, Perring entered the Bent Pyramid and began clearing the debris and large stones from its northern corridor. He was the first to make a detailed description of the pyramid's exterior and interior, drawing plans of each section. He referred to the Bent Pyramid as Haram Messeni, a corruption of its local name, El Haram El Masinin, meaning the pointed pyramid. It was also known to the locals as Haram El Watawit, the Bats Pyramid, and Haram El Sisila, the Chain Pyramid, because a chain was said to have stretched between chambers. Perring published his findings along with Vyse, going down in history as the beginning of modern exploration of the Bent Pyramid. 4 years had come to pass when, in 1843, Carl Richard Lepsius surveyed Dahshur to catalog the Bent Pyramid, which he had called the Nix Pyramid. Almost half a century passed before the Bent Pyramid was investigated by English Egyptologist Sir William Matthew Flinders Petrie, who surveyed the pyramid's exterior. Debris blocking the descending passage of the northern entrance prevented Petrie from providing further details inside the Bent Pyramid. His limited findings were included in his A Season in Egypt 1887, published in 1888. In 1925, Swiss Egyptologist Gustave Louis Jacquot began to clear the debris from the Bent Pyramid of Sneferu that prevented Petrie from penetrating its inner chambers. This work was finished some 20 years later by Alexander Verrill, Abdel Salem Hussein, and Ahmed Fakhri. There were no major excavations until after World War II had ended. At that time, the French Egyptologist and symbolist Alexander Verrill continued clearing the debris inside the pyramid, where Sneferu's name was found on a block inside the upper chamber, in addition to the cornerstones outside the pyramid. Quarry marks were also identified, We will come back to Alexander Varil as it relates to the symbolist interpretation of the Bent Pyramid later on in this video. Eminent Egyptologist Abdel Salem Hussein began work inside the Bent Pyramid in 1946 and continued for 3 more seasons. Unfortunately, his valuable notes and all but a few photographs went missing after his untimely death in 1949. In 1951, Egyptologist Ahmed Fakhri took over the project, stating, and I quote, "When the time came to take over the work, all his notes during 4 years of work had completely disappeared, and all my efforts to find them had failed. I had to depend on only the memory of some of his former assistants or workmen for information." End quote. Some of Hussein's photos were recovered and published in newspaper articles and journals, but it is likely that there are more. So it could be a worthwhile endeavor for some bright, enthusiastic researcher to come along and work on tracking down these lost documents. It's not for me, but if someone out there took this on and it was successful, I believe it would certainly be a major contribution to the field of Egyptology, as data on the Bent Pyramid to date has been scarce. In Fakhri's report, he admits, "The interior of this pyramid has been examined, but I can never pretend that it has been thoroughly investigated, or it does not need more researches in the future. It was the work of Perring that remained a primary source in Egyptology up until this time. However, in 1962, we finally receive a more detailed description of the structure when the Italian architects Vito Maragiolio and Celeste Rinaldi surveyed the Bent Pyramid, resulting in the publication of a multi-volume set. 3 years after the survey, in 1965, the Bent Pyramid was closed to visitors. Over 30 years had come to pass before Andrew Bayok became the first to publish color photographs taken during his 1997 private excursion inside the Bent Pyramid. You can find the photos on his website at guardians.net, to which I'll leave a link for you in the comments below. In 2001, Charles Regano entered the Bent Pyramid interior and published an article in the journal The Ostrakon. Then, in 2012, the Asita Project further documented the interior. In 2017, my colleague and fellow researcher Andras Sabo and the Research Center Laboratory of Alternative History were granted access to film inside the Bent Pyramid. But it wasn't until 2019 that the Bent Pyramid was officially reopened for the first time in more than 50 years.
The interior of the Bent Pyramid is parallel to that of Khafre and Khufu pyramids. The stone block construction is similar, yet protruding underneath the limestone casing. Although Khafre and Khufu stone blocks are larger and heavier, the proportion with Bendi is the same. The limestone casing is made of the same material like that of the 2 Giza pyramids. The casing of this pyramid was done in 3 layers, 2 layers from the bottom to the mid-level, 1 layer from mid to top level. But what makes this pyramid special is its unique geometric sloping angles. They are perfectly aligned from 54 degrees from the bottom to mid-level, then 43 degrees from mid to top level. This pyramid made no room for error. In fact, there was no engineering error. It was purposely meant to be built in this manner. How? Well now, let me see. How about geometry? This explains the outer proportion measurements. It was constructed with a hexagon shape, purposely using geometric engineering to achieve this remarkable calculation. The inclination was 54.12 degrees from 60 degrees to join up with the 43.52 degrees bent angle. The hexagon configuration was to cater a metallic capstone that was placed on top of the light casing layer. The weight of double layer casing counteracted with the weight to the capstone. What you see now is not the original apex. The apex was the crescendo that fitted snugly on the outer mid-slopes. This result of a master construction. You must be wondering, what happened to the capstone? I'll leave that to the very end. What you're about to see is the remarkable feat of engineering that created the interior chamber. The interior schematics of this master construction is parallel to Khafre and Khufu pyramids. Notice the long grand ascending entrance to the main chamber in both Khufu and Bent Pyramids. The satellite pyramid is not far off as it shares its mechanical function. Interestingly, in the western entrance, there are two portcullises at each end of the tunnel leading to the main chamber. A sliding wall close to that of the Khufu antechamber. They were both lowered with a hole cut to allow access to slide them down, and the other is propped up by cedar wood. Question is, what were these wall contraptions used for? If you compare the two, the corbelled ceiling is similar in shape and design. Each corbel jutting out were perfectly chiselled like guitar strings to pitch specifications that were adjusted to the level of either water or sound that streamed from the outside. The design inside the satellite pyramid is the same, except it houses one main chamber. The reason for its geometric hexagon and part pentagon shape is where it sources its energy. No, not superstitious energy, but energy derived from the air. The corbelled ceilings in both chambers were not fit to bury a king or queen. These layered corbels were precisely cut at 41 feet in height and rises to 57 degrees. Brian Forrester suggests that this was to create a magnetic pull or force from the air down to the pyramid and back up again. And yes, there is also a causeway just like the Giza Pyramids that stretched all the way to the edge of the river. And if these pyramids were built on top of bedrock, I'll guarantee you there are subterranean tunnels beneath it. The slow shedding of the limestone casing has nothing to do with the bent shape. The foundation of the bent pyramid is fine. Weight did not cause this pyramid to be bent out of shape, nor did the casing. This is a 4,000-year-old pyramid that was built around the same time as the pyramids in China, Mexico, and many others. Geometry didn't come into play until the invention of the compass, all thanks to the globe-trotting Polynesians. Stonemasonry technology didn't come about until around 6000 BC, including the introduction of cement. And get this, no human remains, sarcophagus, and not one engraved hieroglyph that gives away its blueprint was found inside the pyramid. Aren't we all getting tired of hearing the same old idea that it was a tumor? And what about the damaged corners? Why were they severely damaged? It is plausible that the same reason happened to the capstone. It was purposely destroyed at the end of the last ice age. Hence, the stone rubble scattered around the outer bottom edge. Was it blasted off? Who knows? If there was a such thing as a global catastrophe that occurred around 11,700 years ago, then we certainly were not interested in creating pyramidal structures, especially during the Neolithic period. And if you compare the height of these two people to the height of the structure, there is no way our physical form and stature could muster the stamina hauling massive stone blocks on an industrial scale and fit them with absolute precision. Our stature is no match for this type of construction. Such an impressive artwork for the sole purpose of burying a living god that never was. Many archaeologists assume that it was bent due to a construction flaw in the design midway, and emergency repair work done by engineers were dealt with. That's false. This pyramid was built for a celestial objective. If King Sneferu and Hattusili's burial chamber contained a staircase to the celestial stars for their afterlife, then they were truly kidding themselves. Couldn't they be both lived in happiness whilst they were alive? It seems us humans are masters of conjuring up stories that make us sound better than we truly are. Until this day, no one truly knows the exact reason behind the sudden abandonment of these pyramids well after the end of the last ice age, buried in the sands of time, accumulating dust, until along came curious explorers who stumbled upon these marvelous structures in the 19th century, hidden in plain sight. I want to give a big thank you to all my subscribers who enjoyed the company of my videos so far. I don't normally say this, but I'll say it sparingly. If you enjoyed watching my videos and others, hit the subscribe button and you'll receive notifications. In the meantime, I'll be taking a short break for some R&R, and I'll be back with more exciting videos jam-packed with interesting twists. That's all for now.